Okay.
Hi,
My name is Angelina Pape. Things like this. We used to be fruit show. I lived here from 1920 to 1933. There were only 2 children up here at the time, myself and a doctor's son. After we had a home, but nobody ever stopped us. We came to the cottage without the parents knowing it, of course, always. My mother told me a dozen times, do not go down there, but we could have gotten lost in the woods. But as children, you know, we just went whenever we wanted to. There is a pond up here that I used to fish out of every day. We'd break off a limb off the trees. We caught bullheads. My mother said to me one day, we have eaten so much fish, we're going to look like one, so don't anymore. The ride up to the mountain here was, at that time, very treacherous. As a matter of fact, I do have a picture of an accident where people went off the road. I'm trying to think of different things that happened here. We were not allowed to go near the occupants at the time because this was Metropolitan Sanitarium. Everybody was very good to us. I mean, to the children, they let us do anything we wanted. As you came up, there was the administration building was on the left, and there was a building on the right where we used to love to go in because that's where they taught the occupants at the time to make baskets or weaving and stuff like that. I learned how to make a basket then. There isn't any way I can do it now. I also remember an Oriental woman that used to be here, and it was she or maybe part of her family that opened up a store in Lake George. And we used to go in there for years, come back and forth. Even after I got married, we went to that store. But I found it very interesting. I was sad when we left, actually, because we did whatever we wanted to. There wasn't a lot of children to play with, just that young boy. But I had to go to school in Wilton, and there was a car that drove me to Wilton to school. It picked me up, if I remember correctly, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon and bring me back. And truthfully, I don't really remember too much more because, as I said, there wasn't that much to do, not for me at the time.
now I'm going to ask you to reintroduce yourself because my microphone was way over there. So if you could just reintroduce yourself, that would help, okay?
Okay. My name is Angelina Pape. It used to be Fruscio, and I lived here from 1920 to 1933.
Very nice. Now, you told me a little bit about your father. Could you tell a little bit about how you came to live on Mount McGregor?
Yes. My father and some of the friends and relatives used to work. They lived in New York City, but they were looking for work. And someone from here, I can't tell you the name because I truthfully do not remember, got them all together, asked them if they would to come up here to work. At first they were just laborers, and most of them went back to New York City. My father stayed here, and they got a job in the lab, and he brought my mother up to live. But the thing at the time was you could only have one child here. A year after I was born, my sister was born. She had to live with a family in Wilton because we could only have just the one here. My mother worked as a housekeeper for Mrs. Coffin. I'm trying to. He worked it. We rode in the motorcycle with a sidecar going up and down this mountain, which was really very dangerous in the wintertime. Believe me, it really was. I don't remember when we left. I remember the year we left. Don't remember the day we left. But it was like 2 different worlds, from here to living in Glens Falls with a lot of people around, because you weren't allowed to associate with the people that were ill. They enjoyed working here. I remember at the lookout, used to go there all the time. As a matter of fact, I do have a picture, if I can find it, sitting on the top of the flagpole, at the base of the flagpole. It was about this big. Yeah. I'm sorry, but that's all I can remember at this time.
That's wonderful. Thank you. I'm delighted that you could share some of your thoughts about how it was. So the patients, were they Metropolitan Life Insurance employees, or were they anyone who came for care?
No, they were. Most of them worked for the company, I believe,
Yeah.
and it was for tuberculosis. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what it was for. No, we had no contact with them whatsoever.
Angie, do you remember the little boy's name? I've never heard you mention it.
No, it's another doctor's son. And
Right.
I've got a picture of myself and this boy, and I believe his father's in the picture, but I don't remember the name at all.
I hope you can find those pictures.
Yeah, I'll look for them if you'd like to see them. I mean, you know.
Well, now that I know where you live, I can reach out and
Yeah, right there.
get a hold of you.
Yes.
Well,
How did you come to live on the mountain? We didn't hear the first part.
Well, my father worked here, and my mother came. They had a child, and we came here to live.
was your father part of the construction crew that built the place? I see. So
Yes.
he was here during the construction, which took place 1910, 11, 12, 13, before World War I, we're told.
Yes.
And then you came along about 1920. Is that what we're hearing?
That's it.
Very good. Was the house that you lived in a pleasant place? Do you recall?
Actually, it wasn't a house. I mean, it was like somebody might say a one-room apartment they have now, but ours was, well, I'm picturing the length of it. Maybe from there to almost to the end of the thing here. That room was that big.
So there were several apartments in one of the...
I do believe there were others
Yeah.
around.
That's interesting. That's why you could only have one
Yes.
child, because you were living in a
Well,
small...
it was a rule up here. You couldn't have more than one child.
Too.
Yeah. Even the doctors, it was just the one. I remember that part. And we used to, at the pond, I mean, we were always running up and down, and my mother would be saying to me, keep away, you're going to fall in one of these days. But I fished there every night. Yeah, just threw it. I mean, not like the fishing poles, to break it off, put a clothespin at the end of it, and just throw it in, you know. And it was stocked. Whether they stocked it or not, I don't know. Somebody did, because bullheads, I know that. That's what we had.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for talking about it. Appreciate it.
And like I say, I will try and find those pictures. I mean, I know where some of them are.
I'm sure Eric will check in with you. I'm sure this Eric will
I'll check in with you now that I know where to find you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you say one of your last names was Pape?
Pardon me?
Did you say one of your last names was Pape?
My last name is Pape.
So are you related to Peter Pape?
My nephew.
Okay. I had all your nephews in school.
No,
Yes.
not all of them, no, because, well, nephews that live in North Carolina, but the Pape all live in Glen. His mother just passed away last week.
Oh, I didn't know. I think she lived on Ninth Street.
Yeah,
right next to Sharon and Bill Hall.
Yes. Yeah, as a matter of fact, they were at the house the other night. Yeah, and Patty lives up the street now. She sold her house way up in Queensbury, and she lives at the end of the street now. Cindy lives in Florida. And Diane lives in...
Southland Falls?
No.
Oh.
Not Queensbury, down the... I know where she lives, but I don't know what the name of the town is. Ironic, isn't it? I'm always running into somebody that knows Peter. I mean, he knows so many people.
Yeah.
With his business, you know, and everything. Yeah. At the town. May I have your name again?
It's Finch like the bird.
Oh, God bless you.
And I was the building principal at Glens Falls, and that's how I knew all the children.
Oh.
And from time to time, Peter was given the duty of chaperoning a school dance.
Okay, I will talk to him now.
Thank you.
You're outside.